As a new day begins and light slowly fills the sky, the first moments after waking carry a special importance. Before checking messages, thinking about responsibilities, or rushing into daily routines, there is a quiet opportunity to pause and turn your heart toward God. Starting the day in God's presence changes the entire direction of the hours ahead. It reminds you that you do not walk into the day alone, but step forward with divine guidance already surrounding you. Morning often arrives with a list of concerns waiting in the mind work to complete, decisions to make, challenges to face, and expectations to meet. Without intention, it is easy for stress to become the first emotion of the day. But when you begin with prayer, you shift your focus from pressure to peace. Inviting God into your morning creates a foundation of calmness before the world's noise begins. It allows your thoughts to settle and your spirit to align with faith rather than worry. Starting the day in God's presence means acknowledging Him before anything else takes priority. It is a simple but powerful act of recognition, saying in your heart, "Lord, this day belongs to you." This awareness transforms ordinary moments into meaningful ones. Even a brief prayer spoken sincerely can bring clarity and strength. You do not need perfect words or long rituals. What matters is a willing heart that seeks connection with God from the very beginning. Morning prayer helps center the mind. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you begin the day with intention. You allow God to shape your attitude, your reactions, and your perspective. When challenges arise later, you carry the peace received during prayer as an inner anchor. Situations that might normally cause frustration feel more manageable because your heart has already been grounded in faith. There is also humility in starting the day with God. It reminds you that life itself is a gift. The ability to wake up, breathe, and experience another sunrise is not something to take for granted. By turning toward God first, you recognize that every opportunity, every strength, and every success ultimately comes from Him. This realization replaces pride with gratitude and anxiety with trust. In the quiet morning moments, speak openly with God about what lies ahead. Share your hopes for the day, your concerns, and even your uncertainties. Ask Him to walk beside you in every conversation, every task, and every decision. This invitation is not symbolic. It reflects a genuine desire for God's presence to guide your actions. When you consciously welcome Him into your day, ordinary routines become acts of faith. Beginning with God also prepares your heart to treat others with patience and kindness. Prayer softens reactions and encourages compassion. Instead of carrying irritation or impatience into interactions, you carry grace. The peace established in prayer influences how you respond to difficulties, helping you remain calm even when circumstances become challenging. As morning progresses, the effects of starting in God's presence continue to unfold. Confidence grows because you know your steps are guided. Fear loses its power because faith has already taken root. You become more aware of small blessings throughout the day, recognizing moments of help, protection, and unexpected joy as reminders of God walking with you. This simple decision to begin with prayer sets the spiritual tone for everything that follows. It transforms the day from a series of obligations into a journey shared with God. Instead of facing life alone, you move forward supported by divine wisdom and love, ready to experience whatever the day brings with a peaceful and faithful heart. So, before anything else begins, invite God into your morning and let His presence lead you through the day ahead. After welcoming God into the beginning of your day, the next natural step in prayer is gratitude. As morning light enters your room and a new day unfolds, take a moment to recognize the blessing of simply being alive. Gratitude shifts the heart into a posture of humility and joy. Before thinking about what you need or what you must accomplish, pause and thank God for the gift of another morning. Each new day carries fresh mercy, new opportunities, and another chance to grow, learn, and walk closer with Him. Many people wake up immediately thinking about responsibilities, worries, or unfinished tasks. The mind quickly fills with pressure about what lies ahead. But when gratitude becomes the first response, it transforms the emotional atmosphere of the morning. Instead of beginning with stress, you begin with peace. Thanking God reminds you that life itself is already a blessing, regardless of circumstances. Even when challenges exist, the opportunity to face them with God's help is something worth appreciating. Start by thanking God for the simple gifts often overlooked: the breath in your lungs, the ability to wake up, the safety of the night that has passed. These ordinary blessings carry extraordinary meaning when viewed through faith. Many struggles and dangers were avoided without your awareness. God's protection worked silently while you slept. And acknowledging this fills the heart with reassurance and trust. Gratitude also opens spiritual awareness. When you intentionally focus on blessings, your perspective begins to change. Instead of seeing only problems, you start noticing provision, kindness, and moments of grace throughout your life. Thank God for family, friends, opportunities, lessons learned, and even for the strength gained through difficult seasons. Sometimes the greatest growth comes from challenges, and gratitude allows you to see how God has been present even during hard times. As you continue praying, let thankfulness flow naturally. Speak to God honestly, appreciating both the big and small moments that shape your life. Thank Him for guidance given in the past, for prayers already answered, and for doors opened when you least expected it. Gratitude strengthens faith because remembering past blessings builds confidence for the future. When you recall how God has helped you before, it becomes easier to trust Him with the new day ahead. Gratitude also protects the heart from negativity. Complaints and worries lose their power when thanksgiving takes their place. A thankful spirit encourages patience, hope, and contentment. It helps you approach daily responsibilities with a positive attitude rather than resistance. Even difficult tasks feel lighter when carried with appreciation rather than frustration. Morning gratitude prepares your heart for everything that follows in prayer. It creates openness, making it easier to seek guidance, ask for strength, and surrender concerns. Thankfulness aligns your spirit with God's goodness, reminding you that you are cared for and supported. This awareness brings emotional balance and spiritual confidence as you move forward into the day. When gratitude becomes a daily habit, it begins shaping how you live beyond prayer. You notice beauty in ordinary moments, appreciate people more deeply, and approach challenges with resilience. The day no longer feels like a burden, but like an opportunity entrusted to you by God. Gratitude turns routine mornings into sacred beginnings filled with hope and expectation. As you finish this moment of thanksgiving, allow the feeling of appreciation to remain with you. Carry it into every conversation, decision, and action throughout the day. Let gratitude guide your attitude and remind you continually that each new sunrise is evidence of God's mercy and love. Begin every morning by thanking God for a new day, and let gratitude fill your heart with peace as you step forward in faith. After beginning your morning in God's presence and filling your heart with gratitude, prayer naturally moves into seeking guidance for the day ahead. Every new day brings decisions, conversations, responsibilities, and unexpected moments that cannot always be predicted. No matter how carefully plans are made, life often unfolds in ways beyond human control. This is why asking God to guide your steps becomes such an important part of morning prayer. It is an acknowledgement that true wisdom comes not only from personal understanding, but from trusting divine direction. As you pray, imagine placing your entire day before God, the tasks waiting for you, the people you will meet, the challenges you may face, and the opportunities that may arise. Ask Him to lead your thoughts, words, and actions so that everything you do reflects patience, kindness, and integrity. Guidance is not only about major life decisions. It also shapes small daily choices that influence relationships and outcomes. When God guides your steps, even ordinary moments gain deeper purpose. Many people begin their day relying solely on their own plans and abilities. While preparation is important, prayer reminds you that human vision is limited. You cannot always see hidden consequences or future outcomes. By asking God for guidance, you invite wisdom greater than your own. This prayer expresses humility, recognizing that God sees the full path ahead while you see only the present moment. Trusting His leadership brings peace because you no longer feel pressured to figure everything out alone. Guidance also involves aligning your heart with God's will. Sometimes what you want may not be what truly benefits you. Through prayer, you open yourself to direction that leads toward growth, peace, and lasting fulfillment. Ask God to close doors that may lead to harm or distraction, and to open doors that bring purpose and blessing. Even delays or changes in plans can become acts of protection when viewed through faith. During this part of prayer, speak honestly about areas where you need clarity. Perhaps you face important decisions at work, challenges in relationships, or uncertainty about future goals. Ask God to give you discernment, the ability to recognize what is right and wise. Pray for calm thinking, careful words, and actions guided by love rather than emotion. Divine guidance often appears as inner peace, gentle conviction, or unexpected opportunities that align with faith and goodness. Seeking God's guidance also prepares you to respond well to difficulties. Not every day will unfold smoothly, but when your steps are entrusted to God, challenges become opportunities to grow stronger. Prayer helps you remain patient when plans change and confident when obstacles appear. Instead of reacting with frustration, you learn to pause and trust that God continues to lead even through uncertain moments. As you ask for guidance, include your interactions with others. Pray that your words bring encouragement rather than harm, understanding rather than conflict. Ask God to help you listen with compassion and act with wisdom. When your relationships are guided by faith, they become sources of peace rather than stress. You begin to see people not as interruptions, but as meaningful parts of God's plan for your day. Guidance prayer also strengthens awareness throughout the day. After praying, remain attentive to subtle reminders of God's presence, a moment of clarity, a helpful conversation, or a sense of calm when making a decision. These moments become signs that God is walking beside you, gently directing your path. As your prayer continues, release control over the outcomes of the day. Trust that God's guidance will lead you exactly where you need to be, even if the path looks different from your expectations. Walking with divine direction means moving forward with confidence, knowing that every step is supported by wisdom greater than your own. Entrust your plans to God and step into the day believing that He will guide your every step with wisdom and peace. After asking God to guide your steps and lead your decisions, prayer naturally moves into seeking strength and protection for the day ahead. Every morning brings unknown situations, challenges, and pressures that can test patience, energy, and faith. While you may prepare physically and mentally for your responsibilities, true confidence comes from knowing that God's strength and protection surround you wherever you go. Beginning the day with this prayer creates a sense of security that remains with you long after the prayer ends. Life often requires more strength than we feel we possess. There are moments when responsibilities seem overwhelming, when emotional burdens feel heavy, or when unexpected difficulties appear without warning. Morning prayer becomes a place to admit human limitations and ask God to provide the strength you need. Instead of relying only on personal ability, you invite divine power to sustain you. Pray for physical energy to complete your tasks, emotional stability to handle stress, and spiritual resilience to remain faithful in every circumstance. Strength from God is not always loud or dramatic. Often it appears as quiet endurance. It gives patience when situations become frustrating, courage when facing uncertainty, and calmness when emotions try to take control. As you pray, ask God to strengthen your heart so that discouragement does not overcome you. Request wisdom to respond peacefully rather than react impulsively. This strength allows you to carry responsibilities with grace instead of exhaustion. Protection is another essential part of morning prayer. The world contains both visible and invisible challenges, accidents, misunderstandings, negative influences, and moments of temptation. Asking for God's protection does not come from fear but from trust. It acknowledges that God is a refuge and guardian who watches over every step you take. Pray for safety as you travel, work, and interact with others. Ask Him to guard your mind from anxiety, your heart from negativity, and your spirit from anything that could disturb your peace. Protection also includes emotional and spiritual well-being. Sometimes the greatest battles are internal rather than external. Negative thoughts, worry, anger, or discouragement can quietly affect how the day unfolds. During prayer, ask God to protect your thoughts so they remain focused on hope and faith. Invite His peace to stand as a shield against stress and fear. When your inner world is protected, you respond to external situations with clarity and calm confidence. Extend this prayer beyond yourself. Ask God to protect your family, friends, and loved ones wherever they may be. Pray for their safety, health, and peace throughout the day. Speaking their names in prayer strengthens your sense of connection and reminds you that God's care extends far beyond your immediate surroundings. Trust that while you cannot always be present with those you love, God's protection never leaves them. As you continue praying, imagine your entire day covered by God's presence from the first step you take outside your home to the final moment of rest at night. Visualize peace surrounding your workplace, harmony guiding your conversations, and wisdom directing your decisions. This mindset changes how you approach the day. Instead of anticipating problems, you walk forward with confidence, believing that God's protection goes before you. Strength and protection together create balance. Strength helps you face challenges, while protection guards your path. With both, you move through the day not with fear but with assurance. Even when difficulties arise, you remember that you are supported by divine care and empowered by God's presence. As this part of your prayer concludes, allow courage and peace to settle within you, trusting that God's strength will sustain you and His protection will follow you throughout the day. After asking for strength and protection, prayer gently moves into a deeper act of trust, committing your plans, goals, and responsibilities into God's hands. Every new day arrives with expectations. There are tasks to complete, dreams you hope to achieve, problems you want to solve, and outcomes you quietly desire. While planning is part of responsible living, morning prayer reminds you that true peace comes when those plans are surrendered to God's wisdom rather than controlled entirely by personal effort. As you pray, begin by placing your schedule before God. Think about the work waiting for you, the meetings, conversations, decisions, and responsibilities that will shape your day. Offer each one to Him sincerely. Say in your heart that everything you do today belongs to God and that you desire His blessing upon every effort. This simple act changes your perspective. Instead of carrying the pressure of success alone, you invite God to work through you and guide the results. Committing your plans to God also means releasing anxiety about outcomes. Often, people feel overwhelmed because they try to control every detail of the future. They worry about whether plans will succeed, whether opportunities will appear, or whether expectations will be met. Prayer becomes a moment of release, where you acknowledge that while you will do your best, the final outcome rests with God. This surrender does not weaken motivation. It removes fear and replaces it with confidence rooted in faith. During this part of prayer, speak honestly about your hopes and ambitions. Share your goals with God, whether they involve work, personal growth, relationships, or spiritual development. Ask Him to align your desires with His purpose, so that what you pursue brings lasting fulfillment rather than temporary satisfaction. Sometimes God redirects plans in unexpected ways, not to disappoint you, but to lead you towards something better than you imagined. Committing your plans also requires humility. It recognizes that human understanding is limited. There may be opportunities you cannot yet see or challenges you do not anticipate. By surrendering your plans, you allow God to open doors that lead to growth and close doors that may cause harm or distraction. Trusting His direction frees you from frustration when things do not unfold exactly as expected. As you continue praying, ask God to bless the work of your hands. Request focus, creativity, and diligence so that you perform your responsibilities with excellence and integrity. Pray that your efforts bring benefit not only to yourself, but also to others. When your work becomes an offering to God, even ordinary tasks gain deeper meaning. Daily responsibilities transform into acts of faith, carried out with purpose and dedication. This moment of surrender also brings emotional relief. The pressure to achieve perfection begins to fade when you remember that God values faithfulness more than flawless performance. You are called to do your part while trusting Him with what lies beyond your control. This understanding allows you to move forward with peace rather than fear of failure. Committing your plans to God encourages patience throughout the day. When delays occur or unexpected changes arise, you remain calm because your trust is anchored in Him. You understand that every moment, even interruptions, can serve a greater purpose. Instead of resisting change, you learn to adapt with faith, believing that God continues guiding your path. As this part of prayer comes to a close, allow your heart to rest in confidence. You have offered your goals, responsibilities, and expectations to God. Now step forward without carrying unnecessary worry. Walk into the day knowing that your plans are held securely in divine hands, and trust that God will lead you toward what is best. As prayer reaches its final moments, the heart settles into quiet confidence and peaceful faith. After inviting God into your morning, offering gratitude, seeking guidance, asking for strength and protection, and committing your plans into His hands, the natural response is to walk forward, trusting that God truly goes with you. This final step is not about saying more words, but about carrying the spirit of prayer into the life that awaits beyond this moment. Prayer does not end when the words stop. It continues through the way you live the rest of your day. Walking forward in faith means rising from prayer with assurance rather than uncertainty. You have placed your day before God, and now you move ahead believing that His presence surrounds every step you take. Faith transforms how you approach the unknown. Instead of fearing challenges or worrying about outcomes, you carry an inner calm that reminds you that God is already ahead of you, preparing the path you will walk. Peace becomes the evidence of this trust. It is not the absence of problems, but the presence of confidence even when circumstances are unclear. As you leave your place of prayer, allow that peace to remain within you. Let it guide your reactions, influence your decisions, and shape your interactions with others. When stressful moments appear, and they will return mentally to the peace you felt during prayer, remember that the same God you spoke with in the quiet morning continues walking beside you throughout every moment. Faith also changes how you see people and situations during the day. Instead of rushing through tasks with impatience, you begin to notice opportunities to show kindness, understanding, and compassion. Walking with God means reflecting His character through your actions. Small gestures, a gentle word, patience in frustration, or encouragement to someone struggling become expressions of faith lived out in practical ways. Your day becomes more than a schedule to complete. It becomes a journey guided by purpose. There will be moments when doubt tries to return. You may encounter unexpected challenges, delays, or disappointments. In those moments, remind yourself that faith is not dependent on perfect circumstances. Faith is the decision to trust God, even when answers are not immediately visible. The peace received during morning prayer becomes an anchor that keeps you steady when emotions begin to shift. Instead of reacting with fear, you pause, breathe, and remember that God walks with you. Walking forward in faith also invites joy. When you trust that God is present, you begin to appreciate ordinary moments more deeply. The conversations, the work accomplished, the lessons learned, and even the quiet pauses throughout the day. Gratitude continues naturally because you recognize God's hand guiding events, both big and small. This awareness brings contentment and strengthens your spiritual confidence. As the day unfolds, carry the mindset that you are never alone. Every step, decision, and interaction becomes an opportunity to rely on God's presence. When you succeed, give thanks. When you struggle, seek His help again. Faith is not limited to the morning prayer. It is a continuous relationship expressed through trust, obedience, and hope. Ending prayer with peace prepares you to face the world with courage. You rise not burdened by worry, but strengthened by assurance. The words spoken in prayer now live through your actions, attitudes, and choices. You walk into the day knowing that whatever happens, God remains near, guiding, protecting, and sustaining you. So step into this day with faith in your heart and peace in your spirit, confident that the Lord walks with you today and always,